All right, welcome everyone. So we can now say that we are officially starting our musicfestivalsuite.com Bravo webinar. I'm gonna, wow, apparently I have challenges with diction today, go figure. I am going to give you a little bit of an orientation as to what you see on your screen right now as well, so that we are feeling comfortable about how this webinar is going to work and make sure that it is working to the best, to the needs that you have, as well as to making sure that I get the information across well for you to the best of my ability. And so I'll kind of start off with that. So just got so many buttons to click now. It's kind of funny. Let's go with this button here where I get to bring you to this lovely screen. Right there. Okay, so welcome. First of all, to a new tool that I'll be using from now into the future. It works perfectly fantastic for one-on-one things. Which is, so if you ever have a need of sharing your screen or something like that, then we'll be using this tool instead of Zoom, or for those of you who were here with me a lot earlier in Music Festival's existence, Zoom, team viewer, which we have also completely abandoned. And the reason why we're using this one is because it is versatile and it is also free, meaning that there is no additional cost to you for me to use it. Yay! So what I will ask that you guys do while we're using Video Ninja is stay muted, please, and you do not need your cameras on. The cameras will add load to my computer, which then might mean that I come across a little bit more slowly. You don't need them on. I am also recording this, and so if you do have a question at some point in time, there's a variety of ways you can ask said question. One of them is the raise hand button that you will see if you're on a computer on the bottom of your screen. You click that. In fact, if you guys want to test drive that, go right ahead. Just to make sure that that raise hand button is there for you. If you are on a phone, I tried it on my phone and I couldn't find the raise hand, but it looks to me like Carrie found one. So that's a good sign. So things are definitely, obviously can work there for you. You can also simply ask questions by way of just typing it into the chat bubble that you will see at the bottom. It looks like a dialogue box from a comic. So you can type things in there and make sure that you have any questions that you could possibly imagine going in there. So feel free to use that chat, those raised hands. If you are wanting to ask a question, like I said, type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I will unmute you, or I will invite you to unmute yourself, and I'll even put you up on the screen so that we can make sure that we actually hear you. Even if you don't want your camera shown, we'll just do this so we can make sure that we actually hear you for the recording purposes only. And then that way everybody gets all of the questions the way they want to have them answered. So that is Video Ninja, and this will be the tool that I will be using for support purposes from this day forward after, I guess. So with that, I'm going to get us to the agenda. So today I intend on going through a lot of the new things, namely the administrator logins and how that's changed. The fact that we have a different set for the lead administrator tools. There's also some support system updates, and sorry, just give me one sec. Yeah, support system updates that I'm going to share with you. We also have now done Stripe integration, and at the end of the Stripe integration, we're going to take a little 5-minute break, go to the bathroom, get some water. If it's as hot at your place as it is here, we're currently sitting at 36 degrees right now, then you might want to go get some water. So we'll take a little water break after Stripe. And then we'll do talk about the new filter system and the email composer. Both of them are quite closely linked. And we'll finish up tonight with what I have coming up next for you, so that we will be able to cover quite a bit of ground in one night. And if you, like I said, if you have the questions, I invite you to ask them as we're going along. Throw that raise hand up button when you need to, or just throw it in the chat and it will pop up on my screen and I will just read it out, whatever you prefer. Woohoo! Away we go. Let's not delay. Let's go through this. Okay, so first things first, we now have a new way for you to all log in to your administrator portals. The old admin portal is now gone. We've gotten rid of it entirely because we've now discovered that for a variety of reasons. One of them, it was kind of redundant. We had better ways of being able to get you guys in. Two, it was also not meeting upcoming privacy legislation changes. And so we've now really intensified our ability, that login process. We use two-factor authentication to make sure that your administrators have access to the very sensitive information that's behind the administrative portal. And so what that means then is that in order for your administrators, your people who are going to have access to that portal, to be able to do so, they need to have a volunteer profile and a cell phone number attached to that profile so that we can do the two-factor authentication thing properly. And you will notice that you will need to whenever you're logging into Music Festival Suite's admin portal from your volunteer profile, you will need to re-authenticate very somewhat regularly. Basically, the way it's set up is that it re-authenticates anytime you have switched devices, or anytime every 2 weeks, basically. So if it's been 2 weeks since you logged into the portal, since your last two-factor authentication, it will make you do it again. And I'll give you a quick little example of that in, let's see here, by way of Saskatoon, actually. So Saskatoon earlier on today sent a message to me saying they wanted to have administrative access. And so here, this is basically what you see. For the most part, I'm going to get rid of my face so you guys can see properly. But this is basically what you see when you choose to log in and you get the two-factor authentication. It will automatically send you the code to your phone. And so seeing this is from me even. I even have to go through this re-authentication process. So I'm going to go find my text message that I got with that. Put it in, and then away we go. That is... nope, that's not... and there we go. Oh, it didn't like me. It was too long. Let's try that again. Let's try this one instead. I sat there looking at that screen for too long. There we go. And now we're in. And that's all it takes for you guys to get to go through your two-factor authentication process. So with that brings me to the next point, or the next screen. I can talk to you about some more of these details. So one of the big things that has changed is that, I'm going to go back one step. No, I guess I can start from here. So support liaison. I've always called one person with every festival the support liaison, and that's because that's been the one person that's done all the support all the time. We need to do a little bit of an adjustment to that. We're not going to call them the support liaison anymore. We're going to call them the lead administrator. There's a couple things that stay the same. The lead administrator is that sole point of contact between musicfestivalsuite.com and your organization. But the lead administrator now has a couple of extra other tools available to them, which most festivals were already having this be the same person anyway. So it's not a major change. So the new things that lead administrators will have is that they are the ones who are going to be granting people access to the administrative portal. So, and I'll demonstrate how that happens here in a moment too. They will also be the ones who can operate the backups. Aside from that, it's the support, it's the admin access and the backups, and that is all that the lead administrator is the only person that gets to be. So let's go for a quick exemplar here. I'm going to switch my gears here to my demo site. Okay, so actually, you know what? I should do this with Saskatoon. I should actually finish this up with Saskatoon right now. Let's do that. I'm going to finish this up with Saskatoon. Here we go. So, in Saskatoon, I had a request from Mariel to make her a lead administrator, or make her have access to the administrative portal. So I got a notification in my email saying she has now requested access. The way she would have done that is she would have logged into her regular volunteer location and then gone into the menu button and clicked request access. Now I see two hands popping up here right now. So I am going to bring up, I guess we'll start off here with Karen. So Karen, what is your question, please? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
In order to have people help with registration and whatnot, do those volunteers have to have a cell phone? Because we have one who doesn't have a cell phone.
Yes, they do have to have a cell phone, and that is to make sure that they comply with privacy legislations that are coming up. Particularly, it's starting in Quebec, but it's also going to spread to the rest of Canada very soon. It's already a standard in Europe. And part of that is, and so one workaround that I've kind of worked out with some people is if you have a volunteer who doesn't have a cell phone, have them have a connection, have them use a neighbor's cell phone or another family member's cell phone or even your cell phone. All you have to do is connect with them and tell them what the code was, and then they can type in the code and away they go.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
That
doke.
works.
All right. Cool. Thank you very much. And now, Nadine, I also noticed that you had a question as well. What is your question, please?
The um, screen is not legible for me to see at all.
Right now, okay, I've made it about as big as I can.
Can you hear me?
So I can hear you. You're a little patchy, so I'm wondering if it's your connection. But I'm making it as big as I possibly can so that you guys can see it as clearly as possible. I'll make it as a little bit bigger, see if that does the trick, but that is about as clear as I can make it for you guys. You can, of course, see these things. It's just very fuzzy.
It's very fuzzy.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's going to be a nature of this of having as many people connected as we are. I'm sending up as much information as I possibly can, and my connection's actually really, really good. So hopefully you can still connect to this and see kind of the different shape and see how this is actually going to look on your end. You can actually go onto your computer and kind of follow along if you'd like.
So I'm on my laptop.
Okay.
But should I go into the MFS then?
Sure, you can always follow along by looking at your own MFS, and I will go a little bit more slowly to make sure people know where I'm clicking as well. So, with that, I think I will get it so that you guys don't see my face in the way anymore, and we'll just see the only screen, or only my screen here. So in here, so in Mariel's case, she sent me a request to become an administrator. So me currently, I am, and this will not last very long, I am currently the lead administrator, quote unquote, for Saskatoon until I give it to Mariel. So what I would do as the lead administrator, anytime somebody requests access, or even, they don't even have to request access, you can just do it yourself. But once I'm logged in, I'm going to go to the Add New Administrator section. And in here, I'm going to get a list of every volunteer that also has a cell phone number attached. So in this case, there's Mariel right there. And I can give Mariel access to whatever sections of Music Festival Suite I want to be able to give her access to. And in this case, she's going to be the lead administrator, so I'm giving her access to everything. And then all I have to do is click Add New Administrator, and she is now an administrator. And you can actually see this. We're now looking actually at the Administrator Management screen. And inside the Administrator Management screen, you can see that I have access, and that Mariel has access as well. Now, I also want Mariel to be the lead administrator. There's only one for every festival. And so all the way on the right-hand side here, there is a button to, first of all, remove her if we don't want her to have access anymore. We can also edit what parts she has access to. But in this case, I'm going to promote her. I'm going to promote her to being the lead administrator. So as of right now, Mariel is now the lead administrator for Saskatoon. And that is the simple, straightforward process for everything that needs to happen when it comes to making administrative access happen for your volunteers. Previously, you'd have to go through and make up a password that everybody could see. That is not a thing anymore. Their passwords still remain confidential. If they ever lose their password, they have to do the same reset password process that your regular festival users have to use. But because they access everything by way of their festival user profile now, you don't have to control any of that stuff. You don't have to have access to any of that stuff. All you need to worry about is letting them in and telling them what they have access to. Makes it nice and simple and straightforward. I see a question here from Mariel. Why not? So let me get Mariel up here. So Mariel, if you wanted to unmute yourself, you can certainly do so.
Hi there. First of all, thank you for making me the lead administrator. I'm thrilled to know I still hold that position. Also, I just had a question. When I was going through the process of requesting that, I noticed that the process is very simple, and I would say too simple. I noticed that on the once you have a valid cell phone number, when you go into the menu, the very first option is request administrative access, and you just click that once, and that's it. And I am already anticipating a lot of accidental administrative access requests when our registration gets underway. So I'm wondering if, just from a user interface point of view, would it be possible to add in like some sort of confirmation box? Like, are you sure you want to request administrative access? Just kind of another level to weed out any accidental clicks, because I already see that being something I'll need to sort through a few of those.
So what you'll find actually is that the only people who will ever see that button are those who are volunteers with a cell phone number on their profile. So the vast majority of people will not have that button ever show up for them in the first place. If your profile is only an entrant, or an entrant and a parent or a teacher or an adjudicator, but not a volunteer, you're not going to see that button anyway. Regardless, they're not going to just automatically get access. You still have to provide them with that access. And so that's kind of the process that we went through with that to try to mitigate excessive accidental clicks. But I will certainly put that on my list of things that I could potentially improve upon.
Okay, that sounds good. Even the fact that not everyone will see that button already mitigates a lot of that future anxiety. So that's great. Thank you.
Beauty, no problem. All right, we're going to switch it up now here to Karen, who also has a question. Karen, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question. And I don't hear. Oh, hang on. That's my button. Go ahead. Sorry, Karen.
Is it only the lead administrator that goes through MFS? All other people that are requesting access to the administration go through the lead administrator?
That is exactly correct. The only reason I have the ability to do any of that is for right now because some of your festivals haven't had your lead administrators get access yet. So I'm giving access to the lead administrators. After that, it's all up to your festivals. If you have a festival, if a festivals board were to send me a message saying we don't have access to Music Festival Suite anymore because our lead administrator has now moved on, then I can still have control over it then, but I don't usually get involved once the lead administrator is there. Very seldom
So
should
do
I
we
have.
get an email that somebody's requesting? Would it come to me that as the lead administrator, I would get an email saying somebody's requesting access?
That's exactly how it works.
Okay, because I've noticed I haven't been getting emails for the support tickets I've had lately. I used to get an email that I had got a reply.
Okay.
Is that the
Um,
same?
then I'll double check that to see why that's happening. In your case, that's probably a one-off thing. I have noticed that the couple of emails aren't popping through the way that they're supposed to be, but they're usually they usually pop through eventually. So I like to see when those kinds of things happen. So send me a support ticket, and I'll get that, which I can actually show you here shortly about how that works.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So moving back to the screen so you guys can see the things. So that's basically your administrative access. So the next thing on my to-do list to share with you, let me make sure I'm not missing a step here. Right. Okay. So the next thing on that we have is the control over the backups. And so I'm going to actually switch out of Saskatoons because I don't want to be in charge of Saskatoon stuff. That's supposed to be Mariel. But in my demo site, I can show you a few things. So one of the backup system is only slightly different. Rather than seeing the backup as one of your main options across the top of your screen, it's no longer there. It has now been moved into only the lead administrator to do it. And the reason why I've done that is I've actually had a festival or two in the past who have had one of their other volunteers run a backup and overwrite something that the lead administrator was working on. And so now it's only one person who does the backups. But it also reports the backups a little bit more clearly for you as well. So ever since July 17th, I have been recording for you when you have actually run a backup. So obviously I have not run a backup on any day that ends in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually ran a backup yesterday just to make sure everything works fine there. And then I also ran one on the 17th. So today is August 17th. So I'm going to run a backup, and it's going to be saved into that folder number 7, same as it's always done. It's just reporting it more cleanly for you. And so it'll even tell you a backup run today will be saved in folder number 7. So when I run today's backup, wow, that popped around really fast because I'm really zoomed in. So if it's jumping on your screen, I apologize, but I'm zoomed in to make sure that people can see it a bit better. The backup was successful. You can now see that today, that was the last backup that was ever saved. So if you ever need to pull some information from a backup, you can tell me exactly which day was the last time you ran a backup. You can also use this as a reminder. Oh, whoops, I haven't backed up in a month. Things like that. So this new reporting is not a difference to how the backups work, just that you can see a little bit better what you have and have not done. I see. Karen? Is that the same hand again, or did you need? Are you asking a new question? I will. Oh, okay. All right, I got her. We're good. Okay, cool. So that is backups. Now the support liaison. This is one where that we've had a significant amount of change. So this already mentioned this stuff. Let's go here. So support system, big updates. One of the things that I have had is a number of festival organizers, lead administrators, keep their tickets open so that they could have them for reference purposes, but then it ends up clogging up your screen. And as a result of that, I'm worried about you guys not being able to do what you want to do as effectively as possible. So I now have separated closed tickets so that you can still see those tickets that you have resolved, but can now also close them off when you're all said and done. You can also set your responses to be visible only by yourself and myself. So say, for example, you have a user who has asked you a question, and you need to make sure that you forward it on to me and add your own extra comments, but you don't want that user to see the comments because it's not relevant for them, or you just want to vent about them, perhaps. I don't know your life, but if you want to do that kind of thing, then you can now send a separate kind of stream of messaging directly to me, so that you do not have to worry about festival user seeing everything that could potentially come your way. You can also choose whether or not the festival user or I get an update. And you can also format text and add attachments now to your support tickets. So if you wanted to get a screenshot off to me so you could say, this is what's not working, or this is what I'm seeing and I'm confused about it, then you can now attach those screenshots to your support tickets. Your users can also attach support screenshots to the tickets, and therefore everything can be seen very clearly and easily that way. So a quick demonstration as to how that looks. In my demo site, I already have a ticket that was submitted by a fake person. So first of all, this is my lovely new support ticket. I'm super zoomed in right now, but it says they chose the title, Trying Something New. You can see that the last time it was updated was by the festival user and that it is currently assigned to me. And so it shares that with you very clearly. You can also see that there is now a button that says View Closed Tickets, and so on and so forth. Now, when I click on this button, much like in the registration screen, it opens up the extra information. And I have a couple of options here. I can close the ticket. I can also add an update to the ticket. And I can also log in as this festival user so I can see go directly into their profile and see what it is that they are seeing. You can also see the details of the ticket. So really, I do actually need help, apparently, which you can't see because my face is in the way. There we go. So you can actually see what they wrote clearly here, and you can see that I've also added a very tiny bit of formatting, just a boldface, but I can add all sorts of other formatting, which I'll show you as well. And you can see that this person also added an attachment to this particular ticket, and clicking on it just brings up what the attachment looks like. So I just picked a random picture that I had on my computer at the time. But they can upload a JPEG, they can upload a PNG file, or they can upload a PDF so long as it's smaller than 5 megabytes. And then it'll automatically upload it to the server. It does not ever download to your computer, so you do not have to worry about it tying up your computer. When I want to update this, I click the update button, and it'll give me a whole bunch of options available in here. And what it shows me as musicfestivalsuite.com person will be slightly different than what it shows up for you. So right now it's telling me my details for this ticket are that it is assigned to me, that the person that I'm helping is this person's name here. Of course, this is a fake name. This would actually show up with Ken Juniper or whatever the case, whoever the helper, the person asking for help is. It'll tell you when the last update was put on, and it'll also say when you or MFS has responded. Right now, nobody's responded to this ticket. When it comes to actually adding your own message and response, you can do whatever formatting you would like. I know you need help. Bold. Red. As a bullet point. All of these formats will now actually save with your support tickets to your users, or for that matter, if you open up a support ticket and want to send it on to me, then you can send it on. Then all of this formatting will appear there too. You can also pick and choose who actually sees this support ticket. Right now, it is currently set to being viewable by the original festival user, or you could say, nah, this one's only for Joel. And then that means Joel and you guys, your lead administrator. So if you set it to this, the festival user will not see this post. Only you and I will be able to see this post. Okay, I'm going to leave it for the original festival user for now. I can also attach my own PNG. So if I wanted to show a screenshot of where they should be going, then I can do that. And then, of course, I can update the ticket. So I'm not going to attach a file right now because, well, no, you know what? Why not? Let's attach a weird file. Let's attach the Accelerando logo. Sure, that works. And I'm now updating it. And just like that, try something new. Last updated today. Currently still assigned to me. And now you can see that the last update was by, in this case, Music Festival Suite, because I'm the one who's logged in. And there you go, you can see the formatted response. So this is a big change because there's a couple of situations where you have received some support tickets and you don't see quotation marks or question marks suddenly disappear or something along those lines. That will not be an issue anymore. Karen's got a question, so we're going to bring her back up here in just right now. Karen, go right ahead.
I'm sorry, this is getting to be a habit. But if you say you reply, somebody's customer has sent, let's say Tim sent a support ticket, and I replied to it saying that it was for support only because I was trying to find something out, and then you replied to it that it was to Tim, would my email get to Tim then? My ticket would go to Tim?
No, what would happen is, let's say, in the example that you've given, Tim has submitted a support ticket. You say you need extra help from me, so you give an update that's directed specifically to me. I then respond. I can choose to respond either directly to Tim, or I can choose to respond to you and let you take it from there, which is probably what I would do, is I will respond to you first. And then you can choose to respond to Tim. Regardless, if it is ever marked as a message that is only supposed to be seen by you or me, Tim will never see it. Tim will only ever see a message that is said it's supposed to be for Tim to see.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Thanks.
No problem. And then closing a ticket is very easy. I'm going to close this ticket right here. Huzzah. And just like that, congratulations, you have reached inbox 0, meaning you have no support that you have to worry about anymore. And if you want to go back to one of those old tickets, you can view the closed tickets, and there is that old closed. Actually, I have 2 closed tickets in here. One of my other tests, and might try something new, one that I just dealt with. You can also reopen a ticket. If somebody says, no, you shouldn't have closed it, you can actually reopen a ticket anytime you need to. And that is by and large, of all of the changes that are happening in the support liaison. I'll give it a pause here to see if there's any questions about any of that. And seeing none, I will now move on to the next thing. So Next thing is Stripe integration. Okay, this one's a big one. So, PayPal has been a problem for a number of festivals. And I'm seeing your faces, and I'm seeing them nodding up and down. So, yeah, PayPal had a really great run of being the only thing that was actually useful for a long time. However, because PayPal not only takes in payments but allows you to make payments through their system as well, they have required of nonprofit organizations a great deal of extra paperwork and labor on your part to prove that you are actually allowed to have access to certain bank accounts. And that is where the big rub has come from with regards to PayPal. Stripe is different. You can't pay out using a Stripe account. You can only accept payments using a Stripe account. And so Stripe's integration, or Stripe's sign-up process is far less arduous. You can easily set up a Stripe account as a lead administrator without a whole thwack of extra paperwork. So that is the big advantage that Stripe has. Of course, PayPal does have the advantage in that you can pay out using your festival's PayPal account. However, I don't think that's the way that most festivals want to work. So we are now, as Music Festival Suite, heavily encouraging festivals to seriously consider Stripe integration instead of PayPal. You can still choose. If you want to use PayPal, you can. If you want to use Stripe, you can use that instead. You can flip-flop through, use it through those two platforms in the middle of the year if you wanted to, but I recommend not because it's just a real pain in the butt for your treasurer to manage. So rather, I would suggest you have a conversation with your boards and say, do we want to use PayPal that has had this challenge, but this advantage? Do we want to use Stripe? Up to you. Okay. We are recommending the use of Stripe going forward. And I think you'll see why when you see how it integrates with Music Festival Suite. This has been a very big job over the summer. I'm really excited to share it with you. So what I've actually done, and what you'll see on this recording as well, is I've actually shown you screenshots of what it's like to set up your Stripe account. It might not look very big on your screen, but I can give you a quick little synopsis of all the things that you're seeing. So this is the first thing that you see when you ask to create a Stripe account at stripe.com. It asks you for your email. It asks you for your name and use your lead administrator's name. It asks you for a password. It helps you create a password that's going to be very useful to you. And then all you have to do is click the Create Account button. So far, this is relatively easy. This is about as easy as making an Instagram account so far. The next step is that they will send you an email saying that you need to verify that you are an actual human being. At which point, you click on the verification, and away you carry on. Then it's time to activate accepting payments on your account. And so this is just, I'm showing you every screen. There is nothing special about this screen except for the fact that there is a blue button you're supposed to click. And that is it. So when you click on the Activate Payments button, it will bring you to this screen. And there's a series of screens that will become a questionnaire that you would go through. For the first one, it's going to say, what kind of business are you? I recommend nonprofit organization. Now, if you are not a nonprofit organization, obviously you would choose something different, but the vast majority of our subscribing festivals will probably choose nonprofit organization. The next screen will ask you for details about your nonprofit organization. So there will be a legal name. This is the same name that you use, that Windsor Graphics bills you for musicfestivalsuite.com. And you can say that our organization is, say, example, the Kiwanis Music. Lloydminster. Let's go with like Lloydminster. Actually, I forget. Lloydminster, are you Rotary? You're Kiwanis? Doesn't matter. Let's just say Lloydminster Kiwanis organization doing business as the Lloydminster Music Festival. Your registered business address, this is just where all your mail goes to. And your industry, I recommend other educational services. It works perfectly fine. Your business website, you can use your festival's website, or you can use your Music Festival Suite portal. Either one is perfectly fine. and you can add a product description if you want. So far, none of this is a make or break thing. It's very easy to get this information. Then it's going to ask you about your organization's representative, which is probably your lead administrator. Now you'll notice on here, if you can see the details, it'll ask you the legal name, it'll ask you the email address to connect with them, it'll ask for a date of birth, and it'll ask for a mailing address for this person. It does at the bottom of the screen ask you for a social insurance number, but the other thing that it tells you is that this is optional. You do not have to provide your social insurance number. With PayPal, a number of you were being asked to provide your social insurance numbers, or as they didn't realize it, it was their social security numbers because PayPal's American. All the same, that is no longer an issue. You do not need to provide your social insurance number if you don't want to. Now, I'm going to just pull up a guest here real quick because Ken is about to ask a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
First of all.
Oh, sorry. To repeat the question, because I didn't quite get your face up there in time, get your voice on there. You want to know if you can use a boxed number. I used a boxed number, so certainly it's not a problem.
Okay, because that was one of the big things with PayPal was they would not accept a box number.
Yeah, Stripe did accept a box number for me.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to switch over now to Robin, who also has a question.
Hello. I am the lead administrator, but our festival has separated all finances away from the lead administrator. Is it going to be a problem to have our treasurer put all the information in for themselves?
Not at all, and you're going to see why. The only thing that they're going to need to do is share with you a small piece of information, and you can actually even give them access to the subscription to let them do the change themselves if you want to. So that siloing of the responsibilities is still a thing that you can do with this. So you do not need to have access to the Stripe account if you don't want to as an organization.
Thanks.
No problem. All right. So back to next screen. And this will actually help clarify some of those questions that you asked as well, I think. The next screen is now the fulfillment details. This is just mostly for Stripe to know, to be able to perform or provide their insurance policies that they offer to your clients, your customers. And so it's a questionnaire that has a whole variety of questions. I'm sorry if it's really tiny on your screen, but basically it's asking you, who are your customers? Your customers are not usually businesses, they're consumers. You sell in-person services. You have customers pay before they get their product, which is performing at the festival. The average time between the payment and when they receive the product or service is usually more than 2 weeks. And sometimes how much time they'll ask you, what's the percentage of time that they'll get their product within a certain period of time. I just said 3 to 12 months is 100%. That's when they're going to get it, because usually that's the truth. And so they're just trying to find that out so that if they have somebody file a complaint about something because they are a credit card processor, they can say, well, Tim, who is filing a complaint 5 minutes after that they didn't get their product, Stripe will actually intervene on your behalf and say, yeah, you're not supposed to get your product for 3 to 12 months. So, chill out. Or something along those lines. So they do actually help you in a large way that way. Some more public details. So what does your business look like to your customers? So this is what it would look like. You get to say, what will your business look like on their receipts when they get one on their bank statements? So for example, for musicfestivalsuite.com, on a large receipt, we'll see musicfestivalsuite.com, but if I have to have it on a skinny receipt, it'll just simply say mfs.com. You can set that to be whatever you want. You can also add whatever your customer support phone number is. I would suggest this is probably not the lead administrator all the time, as in Robin's circumstance, or could be the lead administrator, but even though the treasurer is the person who actually manages the Stripe account. You get to decide how you want to do that. Adding your bank account to Stripe is crazy easy. All you need is the bank number. So the bank number, or the account number, the transit number, the institution number, and that is it. So you can usually get all of that information off of your organization's checks. And you do not have to prove whether or not you have signing authority, or if it is 2 people to sign on the account. You don't have to prove that, because you're never paying through Stripe. You're only ever receiving from Stripe. So that's one reason why I definitely recommend Stripe from here on out. They do require two-factor authentication, so whoever has access to the Stripe account will need to have a way of doing the two-factor authentication. Music Festival Suite only uses SMS. There are authenticator apps out there too, and Stripe is ready for both of those. Now, this is one of those things where I would suggest you might want to write yourself a little note when it comes to making your Stripe account. They will give you a backup code, an emergency backup code that you can use to log into your account in case you can't complete your two-factor authentication. As a nonprofit organization, that's probably not a bad piece of information for your treasurer to have access to, because if for succession planning, if somebody else takes over the treasurer role, this backup code might be the way that they get access to Stripe, considering the old cell phone might be the old treasurer's cell phone. And so two-factor authentication could be a challenge that way. This gives you that backup code. Now, mine's blurred out because I don't want you to see mine. GST. The vast majority of your organizations, I don't believe, have to deal with GST. If you do have to deal with GST, don't let Stripe be the one to manage it. So one of the questions it has in the questionnaire is, do you want Stripe to automate the GST calculation? Don't let your GST calculation be done by Stripe, not as a non-profit organization, because of the Music Festival Suite integration. So make sure that you say no thank you to this window. This is another option that your festival can choose. One of the things that Stripe does is take some of your revenue and donate it to climate commitments that Stripe has, if you want them to. If you want your organization to say, hey, for all of your registration fees, 1% of that goes to a climate plan. It could be a good advertising tool if you want, but you might actually need all of that money because you need to pay adjudicators and such. So you can say no thanks to this screen, or you can have as an organization say, yes, we would like to contribute to this climate initiative. And you can choose to what extent you want to do that as well. You can also say, I don't want to start contributing to climate stuff until we've made $500. That's perfectly fine too. My expectation, I'm going to bet that the vast majority of your organizations, as wonderful as committing to a climate thing is, you'll probably simply say no thank you for this particular thing. At the very end, there's a review screen where you'll be able to see absolutely everything that is your festival, or all of this survey that you've gone through, and you hit submit. And as soon as you hit submit, you now have a Stripe account. Now, inside Stripe account, this is basically what your portal will actually look like. There's a lot of stuff on here, but I'm kind of directing your attention to the top right-hand corner of what your portal looks like. And so I've blown up that top right portal here to the bottom, where you can see that there's a create button, there's a developers button, there's a gearbox, there's the test mode. It's the developers and the test mode that you're going to want to care about. So if you click on the developers, what you're going to see is a section where you can see your API keys. This is how you connect Stripe to Music Festival Suite. So you would copy your publishable key and your secret key one at a time over into Music Festival Suite. I'll kind of give you a quick demo of that on Music Festival Suite. So in Music Festival Suite, you're familiar with your subscription screen. Inside your subscription screen, this is where you have all of your names, your email addresses, your phone numbers, your deadlines, your fees, and so on and so forth. All of this is still here. That's none of that has changed, with the exception of the fact that you can now have Stripe. And editing your subscription is how you would change this. Now, when you come in here for the first time, you will see that if you choose, that it'll start for most of you right now saying PayPal. At which point it will tell you this is or give you a place for you to put your PayPal email account. However, if you switch it from PayPal to Stripe, this is what's going to be showing up on your screen instead. And it'll give you a very detailed explanation of what will happen when you put your Stripe keys in. So first of all, Music Festival, confirm your Stripe information before saving it completely. So you'll get your publishable key and your secret key. You'll type in your publishable key here, probably by copying it and pasting it, and then you'll put your Stripe key, a secret key, in here as well. So again, I'll show you that real quick on the screen. So here, you'll click on the publishable key. It'll automatically copy it to your clipboard. Then you go to your Music Festival Suite screen and you paste it right there. Then you go back again to your secret key, copy it. They keep it private on purpose, and so does Music Festival Suite. And as soon as you've done that and hit update, then it will immediately check to see if this Stripe account was appropriate. If it checks the Stripe account and it doesn't quite connect, maybe you typed something wrong, it'll give you a warning saying we didn't save it, we couldn't connect to your Stripe account. But if it does, then you will see a publishable key. It's really long. And you'll also notice that there's a secret that is only visible and editable by you when you go into your login screen. So if anybody else aside from the lead administrator has access to the subscription section, only the lead administrator will actually be able to go in there and see that secret key, because we do want to make sure it stays secret. And we've done a lot of work to make sure that is as protected as humanly possible. Like 3 extra layers of protection in the coding to make sure that it is gone and not ever going to get in your way. Welcome, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. You're kind of joining us partway through. Okay, so there is an extra little added bonus that comes with this as well, and I'm just going to pull up here. You'll notice that there is a test mode. And so if you switch this to test mode, rather than saying PK live or getting your secret key that'll also say live, it'll say PK test. Music Festival Suite.com can tell if you've put your test mode keys in instead. Now, the great thing about a test mode is it means that you can pretend to do transactions through Music Festival Suite without actually charging anybody's card. So if you want to see how things get charged and try it out, you can actually put in your test keys by switching to your test mode instead, and it will still, Music Festival Suite will not know the difference except for to say, hey, by the way, you're doing a test transaction. If you are in test mode, other users cannot do transactions. It'll say, right now, your festival's in test mode, so only administrative volunteers can actually do transactions to test it out. In order for regular festival users to be able to use it, you need to put in the live keys instead. Okay? So now I'm going to flip over here to Nadine, who I believe has a question. So Nadine, go right ahead. Oh, sorry, Nadine. Go ahead again. And I can't hear Nadine. Nadine, maybe I can ask you to type in your question in the chat, and I can answer it that way. Yeah, for whatever reason, your audio isn't working, so I may ask you to just type it into the chat, and I'll check it in that way. Okay. Oh, there we are. There you are. I'm sorry to say that your audio is very patchy and it's not coming.
With PayPal,
I'm sorry, Nadine. I'm not able to hear what it is that you're asking. Your audio is coming through just too patchy at the moment. So I may ask that you type your question, and you can even email me your question if you wanted to. I'm still looking at my emails too. But I will get to your question, and if I need to go rewind, I can certainly do so. Okay. All right. So from here. Okay, so this is your step-by-step process for how to actually put your Stripe keys in. So in your subscription screen, you would edit your subscription, you would change it to Stripe, and then add your publishable key and your secret key. If you use your test keys instead, we'll be in test mode. Your administrator volunteers will be able to test things, but your fellow users will not be able to do any transactions. So you will need to make sure that you switch to live mode before anything will actually be processed properly for your festival users. And that summarizes Stripe, I believe. That's it right there. So, for my purposes here, real quick, I'm going to check in with everybody and see how you guys are doing and see if you need to do a 5-minute break or something along those lines. If you are comfortable and you do not need the 5-minute break, then actually, you know what? Let's go like this. Raise a hand, either on the camera or by using the actual hand button, if you are ready to just move on. I'm perfectly fine with just moving on if everybody's good to do it. Okay. I think it looks to me, I didn't see a response actually from Jamie or Catherine, unfortunately. There's a response, or from Sherry. But if you guys are good, yeah, okay, we're good. So I think we will carry on rather than taking the 5-minute break because we're great guns. Before I do, was there any other questions about the Stripe integration? Okay, Carrie, let's get you on the screen so we can get you to ask your question. Go for it. Why am I not hearing you? Oh, you're muted, Carrie. Oh, we got slow here. Let's see here. Carrie, I am not able to hear you. You need to unmute yourself still. You are also very slow at the moment. Sorry, the internet connection is slow. So maybe we'll come back to yours as well. Mariel, it looks to me like you also have a question, so we'll switch over to you if you don't mind. What is your question?
I actually just lowered my hand because I realized it's not such a good question for you. It's more just about like the fees between PayPal and Stripe and whether they're comparable. And I only say it's not such a good question for you because this is about specifically integration with Music Festival Suite, not because you don't know it. But so I could find that out on my own. But if you know it, I would appreciate an answer.
Sure. The answer that I can give you is it is nearly negligible until you have somebody paying $100 worth of registration fee, at which point it becomes noticeable in cents. If I remember correctly, PayPal is something like 2.9% plus 30 cents, whereas Stripe would be like 2.85% plus cents or something along those lines. I do know that it's lower, but negligibly lower. That being said,
Okay,
Stripe's lower, so that could be a benefit to any festival that's having
Right,
any
it's a boon.
challenges. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Carrie, we could try you again if you want. Okay, we'll switch now over to Karen then. See and get Karen's question.
Oh,
Karen.
me? Okay.
Karen.
With PayPal, we were able to get a lower rate because we're a charity. Does Stripe offer lower rates for charities?
That is something I haven't investigated, so I won't speak for Stripe, but that would be cool. And so if any of you discover that you can get a lower rate as a nonprofit organization, please let me know and I will happily distribute that information to other festivals too.
Thanks.
All right. Then with that, let us carry on to the next thing. Let's see here. This is the button I want. And this is the button I want. So many buttons. I am super excited about this next feature. I've been really excited about Stripe. I've been kind of excited about the updates to the support system, but this one I'm really keen on. And I'm keen on it because, and the reason why we developed this is because the email composer has been a very big challenge for Music's Festival Suite, and I recognize that. So we're doing a big change for it to make this a lot more comfortable for you. Previously, you're used to an email composer in the profile screen, and then an email composer in the registration screen, and sometimes it's confusing as to which one you're supposed to use. So we got rid of the confusion. We made one email composer, but in order to make that email composer work, we needed to improve how you choose who gets those emails. And so we created a filtration system. So with your filters, the way this works, you can actually choose all of the different things you want to filter out of all of the users or even registrations. And I'll demonstrate how this looks in just a few moments, but you can filter out based off of whether or not they have an active or deactive or frozen profile. You can filter out based off of what year they registered in, what class or discipline or category they registered in, whether or not they're a certain age range. You can filter off whether or not they're a parent, a teacher, an adjudicator, a volunteer, even an administrative volunteer. You can filter out based on, oh gosh, what all else is there? Whether or not they have a cell phone number. You can filter out based off of whether or not they attached accompanists to their registrations. There are many things that you can filter out now using our filtration system. And what's kind of important to recognize here is it is all logic based. So you have to understand how the ands and the ors work. And so I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now. So let me pull it up here. I'm going to go to the email screen, which I haven't activated for you yet. In fact, maybe I'll try and update that right now in the middle of this presentation. Getting into the email section, what you will see once you get to the email section is these buttons across the top. You can change the filters. You can show who is currently included in the current filter. You can look at draft emails, and you can look at previous emails, which I'll get to in a couple. In the meantime, I'm going to focus on the filters, which you can't see because my face is in the way. There we go. All right, so if you want to change the filters, the default filter that Music Festival Suite uses is active users who've registered in the current festival year. So right now, the current festival year is 2022. On October 1st, that'll switch over to 2023. So if you want to use to send an email to the 2022 people, you'll need to make sure you change your filters. So I'm going to go change my filters. Okay, and right now the filters are set up using drop-down menus just like registration screens. And here are the current filters that I have currently set. So currently I have a set that to include in my filters anybody who has a festival user profile that is active and anybody who registered in the 2022 festival season. You'll notice right now that includes 476 festival user profiles using my demo system. That's a lot of people, but they would all be included in my email. I can increase the priority. I can make it so that it goes by the year first and then the users. Sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of, especially when you're trying to move between using users and registration data, sometimes it can make a difference. You can also remove a criteria, or you can change the criteria. So as an example, if I change, this is going to be strange. I'm going to change this criteria not to be, I want to go with every festival user who has ever registered in, sorry, it's jumping around right now, who has ever registered in, let's go in piano. Okay, registered in category is, I can also say that they have never registered in piano. Either one is perfectly fine. In this case, I'm going to say anybody who's registered in that particular category. I'm saving that filter, and now apparently nobody registered in piano that year. Nobody's ever registered in piano in my demo system, which is probably true because of how my system's set up. But that is one thing you could do. You can also say, I want to get everybody who has, I'm going to remove this criteria. So now I only have the festival user profile is active. Now, I also want, I can also add criteria, and I can add as many criteria as I want. But you'll notice that everything that is underneath this section, all of these must be true in order for a person to be included in the criteria. And if I want to have a or, then I add a new group. So all of these things must be true, or all of these things must be true. And in doing so, I now have a whole lot more because I have a whole lot of deactivated profiles in my system right now. Now, this is a demo system, so your system will show up with different numbers. If I want to see who's actually included in this, it will actually allow me to do so by clicking on the showing the filter results. And it'll bring up all of the people who fit that category and show me by their ID and their names. I can also reset and just start all over again, which I'm going to do. And every time you reset it, the default, as I said, is all festival users who registered in the current festival year. Once you've set your filters, and you can, like as I said, you can do as many filters as you want. The filters save to you, the administrator. It doesn't save to your festival. It saves to the person using the system. So let's say let's say that Robin in Regina has set her favorite filters. But one of her other volunteers, I don't know, we're going to go with the name Tim. I like the name Tim. Somebody said that, I'm using it. But so let's say Tim, who is another administrator with Regina's festival, wants to be able to get to set their own filters. Whatever filters Tim sets for himself will not change Robin's filters. And it'll save it even if you walk away from the computer. So your filters are always there. Your favorites will stay. All right, so now that we've got our filters set, now we can go back to the email and see how this looks. So let's go to the emails here real quick. The email composer has changed. As I said before, the original email composers were in profiles and registration sections. We've gotten rid of those, and we've now replaced it with a standalone email section. Now, this means that you can also give individuals access to sending out emails. So if you want somebody to be able to send out emails instead of you, you can do that. It's not just the lead administrator who sends out emails. Let's say you have a volunteer person who wants to send out emails to their volunteers. You can do that. Let's say you have an adjudicators manager who only wants to send out emails to their adjudicators. You can do that. All of that is possible very comfortably, so you can set it up so that it is one more access point that you can give to your administrative users. The email composer uses those filters that I just showed you, and my favorite part, you can save drafts. You can start an email, save it, and come back to it 2 days later, and it's still there. So there's lots of big improvements to our email composer. Let's see, what else am I missing here? I'm actually going to make this available to you guys right now. I'm going to turn on the email composer for you. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Email composer is now turned on. So if you guys wanted to look at it in your systems, you can now click on the email button and it should show up for you. All right, so in the email composer, again, you've seen this screen already. You can change your filters and show your filtered recipients. So as an example right now, I can see a big list of all the people who are currently included in this current email. Oh, I see someone's got a question, so I'm going to pull her up here and let's get her on.
Can we start using special characters in our emails and in profiles and stuff?
Not the profile side of things yet. The emails can, but that is something that's on my what's next list. I have a bunch of cosmetic improvements that I'm doing, and that special characters thing is kind of a big pain in my side right now. I'm definitely fixing before the end of the month.
Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate that one a lot, actually, because those special characters, they look ugly, and I want to get rid of them. I want to make them look great. So that's a future thing for sure, and it'll be happening before my next webinar. Okay, so as I said, you can see the full list. I'm going to close this tab now. And you can also have a quick look at what your current filters are. Right now, my current filters are festival user profile status is active, so all my active people who registered in 2022. So now I'm going to get rid of that. I can, as always, I can set my subject. So I am sending this email. This is my subject. I can choose to send a copy to support, and I'll talk about this other one here in a moment. And I can enter my message in whatever formatting I like. So I can say, our house. I can now center it. Oh, where's my center button? There's my center button. In the middle. I'm going to make this blue. I can go and make this also big using a heading setting of our street, whatever the case may be. And whatever formatting I want, I can do. One thing I can't do is add images to the middle of the email. I've test drove it a gazillion times, and it was just never consistent enough that I was willing to put it in there. Some people would receive the images, some email systems would receive the images, some would not. And so we just kept to the formatting here. I can, however, attach them. I can attach a PNG, JPEG, or PDF file if I need to. So I'm going to attach my Bravo icon in this case. Okay, so there we go. Now, this is all just a very basic, formatted, simple little email. You can have as much text or as little text as you like. There's one other thing that I've added as an option for you here, that your email can have a branded header or footer, and footer. Every email we send out will have a footer that says your email was sent by your organization by Music Festival Suite on behalf of your organization. That meets privacy and anti-spam legislation. So that footer will always be there. But you can also add a branded header to make it look like your color of festival. So right now, my color of festival is this burgundy-like color. So when I've added my header and footer, I'm going to save save this draft and preview this email. I'm not sending it to people yet. I'm just going to save it and preview it. So here is what I'm zoomed in really tight right now, or really big right now. So this is my preview email. This is my subject. Here's a bunch of things I can do with it. Here's my branded header. It looks weird when I'm zoomed in. I'm going to zoom out and see if it doesn't sketch out my screen. Oh, it's sketching out my screen a little bit, but that's... Sorry about the zoom in, but that is the branded header. It provides your logo, provides your text, and it also provides it all in your font, your festival's color. And then it adds your text, and then it adds the footer at the end. So you can preview this. This is what they're going to see in their email clients. Okay. I'm going to zoom back in because whatever reason makes weird things happen. I also can see the attachment. So this is what the actual body of the email looks like. If I click View Attachment, it'll show me what the attachment is. And if I want to see the body again, it'll bring up the body again. So I can flip between seeing those. I can look at who is going to be included. I can also just say, I like how this looks. Send this now. I can make some changes. So I can click on this and it'll take me back to the other screen and I will do all my changes now. Or as you could see, I could also just simply cancel and start all over again. Now you'll notice here that I've already had an attachment up here. So because I saved it, there's a view previous attached file, and I can also replace it very easily as well. Some of the other buttons you see up here, you can see drafts, and you can also see a list of all of your previous emails you've sent, and these will all look the same. So we'll start with drafts, and both these windows look the same. So I can go to my drafts. Currently, this is my draft. And inside this draft, I can either see the email and it'll show it to me. I can view the attachment to the email and it will show it to me. And say I drafted this email 3 days ago, I can also reload this draft and keep on going. And when I'm ready, I can send this email to all of the filtered recipients. My favorite thing that's a change from the old system to the new system, previously, you had a maximum number of people that we could send it to. And so you would have to go back in to your system hours later and say, let's empty the queue. You don't have to do that anymore. You can send thousands of emails if you want. We don't recommend you send more than is absolutely necessary, so we recommend you use those filters, because the more emails you send, the more flags go up on certain servers to block things. And Outlook in particular is a really challenging server to convince that you're not sending out spam. We do everything we can to make sure that we're not considered spam, but if there are too many emails going out at once, there's nothing we can do about it. That is something that is beyond our control. So that's all we can do, is ask that your organizations only send targeted emails to who you actually need to send emails to. We expect that at the beginning of the year, you may need to send emails to everybody who has registered recently. But so go ahead, please do, because you can. But after that, and only send the emails to the targets that you actually need to send it to. If you only need to send an email to your adjudicators, don't accidentally send it to everybody. And if you only need to send emails to your adjudicators for this year, make sure your filters say so. And that is your new fandangled email composer. If you click on previous emails, I don't think I've sent any emails through my demo system, but if you click on previous emails, it looks exactly the same as your draft emails, except these are the ones you've already sent. You will obviously therefore not be able to reload it and edit it again, but you will be able to see it, you will be able to view it, and you'll be able to, and then that way you can go back and say this email was already sent out. And you can even see who sent it out, for that matter too. For example, this email was composed. I have to fix that weird hour thing at 9:04. Apparently by Joel Windsor. I have to fix that. So that's there. Thank you for helping me find one little kink. But yeah, that you can see who actually sent the email as well. So if you have lots of people who have access to the email composer, you can see that the volunteer admin person has already sent it out, or that your president has already sent something out, or something along those lines. And that is your email composer. Do you have any questions about that? All right. Oh, there is one. We'll pull up Karen here, and we'll see what the question is. Go for it, Karen.
Can you put links in the email body?
Yes, you
Links to what? Okay, thanks.
As a matter of fact, there is. Let's see here. Let me reload this, and I'll show you how that works. I believe there's actually a link button in here. No, okay, so it's just simply typing in your link if you wanted to, HTTP s:/. Oh, and by the way, just as a quick reminder to you, I'll use I think I've got the right Grey County Kiwanis Festival of music.musicfestivalsuite.com. You'll notice that your domains are now HTTPS. They are not HTTP anymore. So you will be able to use the S button or the S instead. So for festivals who had people who were saying, I don't want to use this site because it's giving me a flag, it will never give that flag ever again. But you could simply type it in like this, and it will automatically turn it into a link for you. Let's see here. On that note, seeing as I'm thinking about this right now, when it comes to updating, here's something I'm going to recommend you all put on your to-do lists. On your to-do lists, go to your subscription screen. Yes, I don't want to save this email right now. Go to your subscription screen and use the button maker. The button maker will give you code that you can simply put directly into your website. So for example, I want to make a Get Help Here button for my website that is square and is 150 pixels wide. This will provide you with code that you can simply copy and paste into your website. If you copy and paste this into Weebly, Wix, WordPress, doesn't matter, or if you have a web manager, then you can send this code to your web manager, and it will automatically put this button onto your website for you, exactly the size that you say you want it to be. It can be a Get Help Here button, or it can be a register button where they click on it and it takes the user directly to your version of musicfestivalsuite.com. The Get Help Here button sends you to the help screens we have on musicfestivalsuite.com for users. So feel free to use Again, it's in the subscription section, and it's called the Button Maker. And all you do is you copy the code and you put it on your website. Question there from Karen. Go ahead, quick, Karen.
In the past, I just pasted the actual URL because we have it as a link in our menu. So you can go to our menu also and go to register online. It'll take us there. The same thing will happen with this
Absolutely.
tool.
But I will encourage you to use the actual subdomain, which was, as I showed you here, I'll type it out again, in your case, HTTPS, your subdomain that you guys have all selected. And the reason why is if there are any changes in our coding that we do, this will automatically update to the new coding. So use this link, whatever it was for your site, always. And then that way you will know for sure that your users are going to the most updated stuff. If you copy and paste something else, you might accidentally pull out some other thing that it may have been outdated. We had that happen 2 years ago. And so please make sure that you are using your subdomain every time you make such a link.
I did make such a link, and the last time I checked, it still goes to our registration site, even though it's the old HTTP.
No, it will right now, but you should change it to the HTTPS because that is the new update, and you will not have people wondering about why why it doesn't give you that lockbox at the top of your screen on the Google Chrome. So make sure that you're using the HTTPS and this full subdomain, and it will never give you that issue. Okay. That. I think we will now switch back gears to here. Oh, okay, so quick reminders. You can add a branded header. You can format text just without images. You can add attachments to your emails. You can preview your emails. You can preview who's going to get your emails. And you can also see all the previous emails and who received them for that matter as well. So all of that is now existing in the new email composer. And that now brings us to kind of the last thing that's on my to-do list to share with you. So here are what's coming up over the course of the rest of August and the beginning of September. Over the course of this period of time, you're going to see a couple of other slight branding changes in your admin portal. So buttons are going to look cleaner. Colors are going to be appearing a little bit more consistent. You're going to see that the way you upload your files, like your certificate background or your logos, will have minor improvements as well. For example, one thing that I had Festival tell me last year is, why do I have to make my certificate file have a specific name? You won't have to worry about that anymore. You can just upload whatever file you want. I will be changing the word parent everywhere in Music Festival Suite to say parent/guardian. I'll be changing everywhere you see volunteer to volunteer/administrator, one or the other. I will be adding gender markers into Music Festival Suite as well. And I'll be clear about that. When I say I'm adding gender markers, I'm giving people an opportunity to self-identify with their appropriate pronouns. And I will only be showing those pronouns where it will be useful to a festival when they need to make sure that their volunteers know what their users' pronouns actually are. I won't be putting them all over the place. Music Festival Suite has worked very hard to make sure that we don't have that we are non-binary, as the case may be, or are open to all ideas of genders. In fact, we were instrumental in the advocacy for changes to the Alberta syllabus to make sure that they were not all binaries and that every student could be included. So we're going to be doing the same thing to make sure that your festivals can appropriately address all of your users whenever they need to. We will also be cleaning up the profile section to add the filter in there. And as Robin asked, all those weird characters, I'm calling it funky character support. We'll be cleaning that up. And then come September, we're going to be looking at the awards management. And so we will be implementing an awards management system this year. We'll be looking for your feedback on that at the beginning of September. And there will be a date coming out, some more details coming out about that in the coming weeks about how we're going to get that feedback before we start the design. We want to make sure that the design is right for you before we start implementing something big like that. And I believe that covers everything for us. So thank you very much for joining me today. And I guess I'll leave it open to questions at this point in time. All right, there's Mariel. Let's bring you in, Mariel.
I actually don't have any questions. I'm just going to be this annoying person who says, I really like all of these changes. And yeah, just we appreciate the way that you are always striving to make Music Festival Suite as great of a program as possible, because every year it just gets easier and easier for us and for participants to use. And that's like a net very good thing. So thanks a lot for that.
Oh, I appreciate that. And that's not annoying at all, I promise you. um, yeah, I love hearing your feedback. I'm thankful that, especially when it's positive, but I'm also thankful when it's not so much so, because it does tell me what things I can do to try to get as close to the best thing for your volunteers as possible. I should give you a quick little little thing here for you. This comes from Kathleen and Bill as well as me. We designed musicfestivalsuite.com for you first, for the volunteers first. The festival users second. If it doesn't work for you guys, you can't make these wonderful music educational opportunities happen for your kids and for your participants. So we make sure we try our very hardest to make this as user friendly for you as possible and as functional for you as possible. And we're going to continue to work down that road. And hopefully we won't have pandemics make us have to design new video things again in the future. I will add to that. I did send an email out a while back about changes that we will be seeing to our subscription fees. They are not being applied this year. You will see invoices coming sometime soon, but we are not changing our subscription rates at all this year. They will still remain the $600 subscription rate for the year, and if you want the video package, the additional $100 in the 2024 festival season, we will be consolidating everything back down into one subscription rate, and it will be a flat $650, and it will again include everything, including the video components, whether you use them or not. So and again, it's your feedback that helped us decide what features we were going to be moving forward. So thank you for your feedback. It makes a huge difference, and we'll be keeping track of that as well to make sure we keep on growing with you. With that, I think, unless there are any other questions, we'll probably call this webinar. Thank you once again. If you do have any other questions that you think of after the fact, you can still send me an email at support@musicfestivalsuite.com. You can also check out the support ticket system and just send me a support ticket now, because it works. And it will only go between you and me, and I'm excited to see how you guys go this year. Oh, I see Karen is up there. So Karen, let's get you back in here again. So Karen, go for it, please.
Where can we find the recording of this video? Where will it be?
A great question. I'm actually putting this recording directly on the exact same page that you guys just got used to get here, which, for interest's sake, was actually the administrative tutorials video page, which you access from your administrative portal. It's at the very bottom. Actually, I'll show that to you because I did not mention that to you before. Some of the links that you may not have seen. At the very bottom of your screen, I'll get my face off screen so you can see it. But at the very bottom of the screen, you will now see that there are some buttons that exist here, including you can go back out of your administrative portal and back to your regular festival profile. You can go to directly to the manual for administrators. Here is where I will be putting this YouTube video in the administrative tutorial video section. And then you can also see all of the MFS email updates that I've sent in the past. And of course, you can also log out. And it's all at the bottom of your administrative portal instead of at the top or in the subscription section. And that way, every administrative volunteer can have access to all of these things, whether they can see the subscription screen or not. No problem. And with that, I will say again, thank you very much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate that you guys made the time to do this in the middle of a hot day. At least it is hot for me. And I hope you guys are keeping yourselves healthy that way too. So thanks again, and we'll sign you guys off at this point in time. Have a great one.